Chris Cuomo here. Thank you for being with NewsNation. Moments like this matter. Charlie Kirk murdered at a university in Utah, doing what he thought was part of the solution. President Trump first announced his death and ordered flags half-staff. FBI Director Kash Patel just announced that they have a suspect in custody. There's some question about whether or not it's a person of interest or a suspect. We're going to know who did this. We're going to know why. And I don't even know that that part really matters, and we'll talk about that. But I knew Charlie Kirk. I saw sides of him that were not his public persona. You know him as a digital big shot who helped organize young voters for President Trump and really helped get him elected, which made him a hero to some and a devil to others. But Turning Point USA made a difference. And then Charlie did something really special. He started going around the country telling students to prove him wrong. And he made debate and disagreeing without being disagreeable cool again.
Black applicants to jobs are 50% less likely to get jobs if they have a black-sounding name.
That's not even close to being true. That's not even close to being true.
That is a literal...
In fact, it's the opposite.
I'm not going to argue your lived experience. I'm not going to... No.
See, now you have to listen to him under your rules because a black person is going to say you're wrong. I totally sympathize. That's not true. It's never the only choice to commit a crime. And we should not put up with it. And so it is an insult to other immigrants from Vietnam and Laos and Pakistan that have to wait decades in line to morally equivalate people that come in and just break in. Oh, I have an unstable country. Like half of the world's countries are unstable.
You know, I can't believe this happened. I can't believe he's gone. I don't even know what to do with it. That he was murdered at one of the events that he thought was part of the solution, and I agreed with him. I didn't agree with his politics or a lot of the positions, but so what? Killed for his ideas? For his feelings about trans or Trump or Israel? Was the shooter a lefty or crazy or both? Well, no. There is no advantage in this, and I know some want there to be. I know some want this to be proof of something that they think is helpful to their cause. But to me, all I see is a kid. And to me, for all Charlie achieved, personally and professionally, he was only 31 years old. He and his beautiful wife, they were just starting a family. They have 2 little babies. And that's all I think. That's all I see. Is that I can't believe he's gone for this. And yet, everything in my head tells my heart, wake up. Wake up. This is who we are. This is where we are. And going to this group tonight, all the security concerns, my representatives worried about what kind of security I'm going to have and where are the threats and should we take all these threats we've been getting more seriously. The president said the right thing, did the right thing with the flag, in my opinion. Democratic lawmakers, Jews, kids, our president, everybody's getting shot at. This is what we're doing. This is how we express ourselves. I know everyone is saying the right things. We need to come together. I don't know that we're not accelerating in the opposite direction. I hear people on the right saying, avenge him. And some on the left saying, this is what you get. We're not battling over ideas anymore. We're cheap and we're ugly. We've reduced conflict to enemies and animus. I think there's a better chance that we see more of this than less of it. And God, I hope I'm wrong. Charlie and I agreed on what matters most. And I'm not talking about on the personal level. Charlie was about his faith in his family. And for a young man, I was really impressed by it. Again, I did not agree with most of his political positions, but it didn't make me see him as an enemy. He was a sweet, tall, sensitive, kind person. That is how I experienced him. And that dividing for advantage, going all in on who and what is worse, it's killing our society. And that's what brought us together. And we went on Patrick Bet-David's podcast, and that's why Patrick and I have made an alliance, is to show that you do not have to agree to get along. What matters is how you disagree. Did you see this?
I mean, don't fault Charlie for campaigning and believing in Trump. I don't. I think it's very healthy for the democracy.
I don't really care what Chris Cuomo's politics are. I think that it takes someone who loves truth to go to the DNC and remind the viewers that all those boxes up there are bought by corporate titans. I thought that was really good. And look, I think that I don't know Chris very well, but it seems as if Chris has a knack to actually do what journalists used to do, increasingly so.
Now, did Charlie get heat after that? Yeah, we joked about it. You were off today, Charlie. You know, like it was a game. Like he didn't have his fastball. And we texted and we spoke after it. We wanted to do more. And again, Charlie was what you saw in that. And I think it was part of the solution in our politics. It doesn't matter. Look, I thought his feelings about how his faith manifests in different political policies and culture things, I can't even believe I'm saying it right now because it's like, so what? So what? That he thought whatever he did that you don't like, so what? And then I turned to what Charlie may have left us that I didn't value until now. Charlie had millions, okay? Not thousands, not tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, millions of young followers online, okay? Motivated. And he got them involved in something that young people rightly suspect and usually hate, politics. I hope the young people who saw Charlie as a hero or as a zero, but you knew he was relevant, he was making you think and come up with arguments to defend or defeat his propositions. Please see what's happening around you. Please see what was lost in this. This young man, the head of a young family, so much in front of him. This is not who we are. I shouldn't have my kids coming to me about this, afraid that I don't wear a bulletproof vest, afraid that what I do is dangerous. Is that what this murder means? That we have to start being careful about what we say? Judging by the responses, I don't know. The comments from leaders seem to me at best perfunctory. Vile, political violence, no place. I mean, that's what you say because that's what you're supposed to say, right? That's not what you say when you're really trying to persuade something of somebody. And I'm not blaming these guys. There's too much blame to go around. And, you know, I see Musk putting out stupid things and the idea of avenging this and the party that left him. I mean, look, I know he's autistic, okay? I know a lot of autistic people. I don't know that it's an excuse for every stupid thing that the guy says. You know, I don't know what motivates this. Neither did Charlie, by the way. All I know is this is who we are right now. And if we want to be something different, if we want to be a different way, it's got to be with each of us. It's got to be with each of you. Get out of being a part of any group, any them, and just act on what you think is right. And you know that what happened here is so wrong. You know, we've seen killers on both sides. We've seen so much of it. I bet you can't remember the last three. Think about that. The last three political murders. In June, we had this right-wing nut job dressed as a cop, shot and critically injured a Democratic Minnesota state senator, Hoffman, and his wife. He then went on to fatally shoot the top Democrat Minnesota lawmaker in the House, Representative Melissa Hortman, did you remember that? Her and her husband? Remember Pelosi's husband getting bashed? Police found a hit list with that Minnesota guy. The Israeli embassy, do you remember that one? The staffers? The pro-Palestinian Latino guy who wound up just waiting for the cops to come? Pacing the Jewish museum? Killing two people who he thought were Jews? Do you even remember that? Can you remember that? We forget so fast. Why? Two reasons. It's become very familiar, but also because we are not committed to anything better except advantage. Do you remember what happened to Governor Josh Shapiro? Remember that? A left-wing, anti-Israel lunatic. So who's that one? You know, what side wins there? Well, he attacked a Democrat, so it's bad for the right. Oh, but this guy's anti-Israel, and that's a far-left thing, so it's good for the right. Is that who we are? Is that where we are? So I don't know what to say to you about the virtue that we must reclaim. All I know is that I hope we don't forget. And we have 9/11 tomorrow, and boy, have we forgotten. We have forgotten who can be our enemy, what is our enemy, and what it takes for us to come together and survive. But I don't think Charlie will be forgotten. I'll end on this. I don't think Charlie Kirk is going to be forgotten anytime soon, and I really hope people don't let him and what he was about at his best be forgotten. All I know is I am so sad about what happened. It is such a shame. It is such a waste. It makes nothing and no one better. And all I know is that I get to decide what to think about it and what to do after it. And I am going to keep showing up. I don't care about the threats because I believe that the value here is in using the platform as long as I have it to try to get us to a better place. It is not about agreeing or disagreeing. It is about how we disagree and how we prosecute the case for what we want America to be. And we are not getting it done. If this fight is not over ideas, it is lost before it begins. I am so sorry for the Kirk family. If there is anything that we can do as you guys go forward and decide how you want Charlie remembered, just let us know. So what are we supposed to do with this? What are we supposed to see in it? Bill O'Reilly is a familiar guest on the show and a constant resource for me in my life, and it is no small coincidence that his latest work, Confronting Evil, is one of the top books in the country, and it puts him in a sweet spot of helping us understand what we are once again living through in this country. Bill, thank you for joining me on such an important night. Of course, it's a shock and it's a horror given his age and the stage he was in life and that young family he had. But what do you do with a situation like this?
Well, first of all, let me provide some hard news perspective. We are entering a new age of evil. The last age that we had was in the 1930s with the rise of the dictatorships all over the world that led to 100 million people dead in World War II, the Holocaust, on and on. Now, I wrote this book, Confronting Evil, to signal people that it was coming. And it was a harrowing day for me today. I was born today in 1949. And I got up, and the first thing I heard was that Putin shot missiles into Poland. Ultra dangerous, all right? Putin is as evil as they come. He's on the cover of Confronting Evil, my book. He is a psychopath who is looking to slaughter human beings. That's what he wants to do. You don't shoot missiles at a NATO member unless you are trying to upend the entire world in an evil way. And then a few hours later, A few hours later, we have the Charlie Kirk assassination on the eve of 9/11, where we lost 3,000 people to evil. So I started the book's research and writing about a year ago, and I knew, as you say a lot in your monologue, that things were deteriorating not only in the United States. This is not an American problem. This is a worldwide problem. And my opinion that I inject into the book, backed by facts, is that too many people in the world and in this country are looking away. We are looking away. And we are allowing evil to gather power. And you can just analyze it from every point of view. To sell heroin, we're not even going to charge you in major urban centers. It's okay to slaughter African Americans on the south side of Chicago, thousands of them going on for 20 years. 20 years. And we're going to look away. We're not going to demand that it stop. And then when there's an offer of increased protection, we're going to attack the federal government who's offering that. It is beyond belief. And what it's going to come to is a breaking point. I think we're at the breaking point with Putin. And I'm warning everybody that this thing with this man has got to be tamped down soon, or it's going to be World War III. All right, that's how bad this evil man is. And if you have to break him with the banks, whatever President Trump and NATO has to do it now. It's not going to get any better. And then you go to Charlotte on the bus, okay? And then you watch this poor woman, all right, slaughtered because a man was let out on the street by a judge who knew the man was dangerous and let him out anyway. The judge looked away, wouldn't confront the evil in front of her face. She had the power to restrain the man, to put the man in custody. She did not do it. And this happens thousands of times across this country. It didn't used to happen, but now it does. Too many Americans and people all over the world are so self-involved, so selfish, so weak, so afraid that they are allowing evil to grow at an exponential rate, a rate that is horrifying, horrifying. And that's why I wrote Confronting Evil. And I back every single word I've just said up with facts.
Listen, I get it. I'm just saying that what we have to do is figure out, once you confront it, what do you do about it? What does that look like? What does it sound like? So let's take a break and come back. We'll bring in Geraldo. So I have two sages here who see the world different ways, but we all recognize the problem because it's right in front of us, most recently in the form of a murdered young man named Charlie Kirk, who did not deserve it, and it didn't make a damn thing better, but it sure makes things a lot worse. Let's keep talking. Next.
Since I last spoke at the Republican convention 4 years ago, I've become a husband and father. In fact, we have 2 under 2. I think I get extra points for that.
And we started to get 5 million views a day, 6 million views a day, and 10 million views a day. And so over the summer, I said, well, what if this election season, I do like 25 campus stops and we kind of create these open air discussions, and they might go viral, especially on TikTok, that could influence a lot of people to view the election the way, obviously, I want them to view it.
Charlie Kirk's approach got him murdered on a campus in Utah today. He was doing what he loved. He was doing what he thought could make a positive difference, provoking people to have ideas, to make arguments, to debate ideas instead of insults, to have it be a battle of insights. And it got him murdered. Word came out from the FBI that they had somebody in custody. We are now told they were released. That means that whoever is responsible for murdering Charlie Kirk, 31 years of age, young wife, 2 little babies, is still on the loose. Hopefully, that will change immediately. Let's discuss what we can do with this, what we can do about this. Bill O'Reilly says it is evil and proof that evil is on the rise. Geraldo Rivera knew Charlie Kirk and obviously has been watching what we are becoming or unbecoming for a long time. Geraldo, what was your reaction today to seeing this kid get killed?
It was a damn shame. It was a horrifying event. I just want to say I was just momentarily distracted because, Chris, I want you to stay safe. Don't be, so self-assured that you take unnecessary risks. I think O'Reilly's exactly right about the global situation. I think we are on the edge of the abyss. The death of this young man, it was very painful in this regard. I would see him in the green room at the Hannity show, and I kind of watched him grow up. He was very young when he started, and then I watched him and this Turning Point organization grow exponentially every year, bigger, bigger, bigger. Then when Fox and I parted ways, he took off, and I think that he was the single most important person in the re-election of President Trump 47. He played an enormous role in motivating the young people of this country, stripping them away from their traditional Democratic roots, bringing them squarely in Trump's orbit. And he was amazingly effective and very, very important in that regard. This is, therefore, not just a political assassination. This is a major, horrible political event. The Trump camp and the Republican Party writ large has now been stripped of one of their most effective warriors, the person who changed the demographic in their election campaigns. And I think that this is, and the fact that the shooter is still at large, how can any Republican or Trump-supporting politician feel safe as long as that shooter is at large? This is very, very big, important. Historians will write of this. This is a very big deal, and I hope to God that they apprehend the real shooter of Charlie Kirk, who did not deserve this. A wonderful kid, married man, nice family, beautiful children, affable, wonderful, tragic, Chris.
So what do we do with it? What do we do about it? Bill, you're making the case that it's an illustration of evil. Of course, we don't know who did it, why they did it. Whatever the rationale is, it's just going to be weaponized by one side over the other. I certainly don't believe either flank of our poison politics has any kind of stranglehold on virtue. So how do we get to a better politics, or is this it? Is this the new reality and it only gets more of this?
No, you can roll the age of evil back, but it's going to take courage. It doesn't matter why the guy did it, and I'm assuming it's a man. Doesn't matter, okay? He murdered a fellow human being, all right? And he took that person away from his 2 young children. There's no excuse for it. It doesn't matter if he's mentally ill. It didn't matter if the guy on the bus in Charlotte was mentally ill. Guy got on the bus, put a knife in his pocket, did what he did. He's got to vanish. He's got to disappear, never to be seen again. I don't believe in a death penalty, but that man can't ever, ever be out on the street again. And the woman judge who allowed him to be on the street has got to be fired immediately, taken off the bench. And that is the key. Look, if you want to defeat something as insidious as evil, you've got to do it through strength. You can't look away. You can't run away. That's the game Putin's playing. Push it, push it, push it. because they're going to run away. They're going to run away. They're not going to confront me. They're afraid of me. Okay? That's what he's doing. And the evil in the United States, you can see it. We now accept people selling heroin to children in places like New York City and Chicago. You won't even be bailed if the cops catch you selling heroin to children. You'll be out in 2 hours. So you can continue selling your heroin. That's not evil. I made a very controversial statement that I got, pushed back big time on this week, that I said, if you vote for Mandani, you may not be an evil person, but that vote is evil. Because Mandani in New York, the mayoral candidate, has said to you, I'm going to let as many criminals out on the street as I can. He said it to you. You're voting for that? You're voting for more dead bodies, more rapes, more assaults? That's on you, the voter. And Americans have got to wise up in your neighborhood, in your family. If you see evil, confront it. Don't put yourself in danger. We're not suggesting that. But there are one of the ways is people out who allow thousands of poor blacks in the south side of Chicago to be slaughtered by drug gangs. That has been allowed for 20 years. Vote them out. And this is what makes me, I am angry about this. I feel terrible for Charlie Kirk's family, all right? But I'm angry, and that's why I wrote this book, Confronting Evil. You have to confront it with strength. You can't weasel out of it anymore. And the media is a big part of this. Just about an hour ago, the president of MSNBC, one of the most vile networks ever to be broadcast in this country, chastised a man named Matthew Dowd for saying, Kirk's murder could have been his fault because of his inflammatory rhetoric.
Yeah,
the man was not even pronounced dead yet. All right? And Dowd said that on this network, MSNBC. Now, to his credit, the president and that whole network's blowing up because Americans finally have gotten the message. This is vile hate that they're peddling. And it goes on the right, too. You got kooks on the right, too. And Americans have got to walk away from that stuff.
Well, that's what takes the strength, Bill. I got to jump because I want to get Patrick Bet-David. On here. He brought me and Charlie together, and I think he's a big part of the solution about how we start talking to each other. And I want to bring in lawmakers also, guys. I appreciate your take. I'm sorry to cut you guys off, but I want to get perspective from the people who we've put in positions of leadership here. My thank you to Geraldo. My thank you to Bill. I will say this. I don't know about the strength part. Jesus was strength, but he wasn't harshness. Dr. King said the only thing that can drive out darkness is light. And I don't think it's about being vicious. I don't think it's about being tough. I think that that's a macho misappropriation of real strength. So how will we see it in our leaders? Let's take a break. Let's have what only we at NewsNation, and now you'll know why we do it. Why do we work so hard to get right and left to come on to be reasonable together? Why? Because of days like today. Because of days like today. Next. The two major questions that we keep getting here, one is about the investigation and one is about the implication. We don't know who murdered Charlie Kirk. I know there were reports that they had some old white guy in the beginning. Now they don't say that it's him. Then they said they had someone in custody. Then they said he was just a person of interest. Now they say they released him. The manhunt is active. They do not have the person or persons responsible for murdering Charlie Kirk. So we don't know why this happened, okay? All we know is that it happened. His family will never be the same. And we have to figure out what it means to the rest of us. The second answer is, yes, I am interested in continuing Prove Me Wrong and going around the country and talking on college campuses and talking to places where they still believe in conversation. Absolutely. I don't think that should stop because of this. I don't think you can ever remove the risk or the threat, and I would absolutely be open to doing it. And I'm going to talk with my guest after I have these two lawmakers on, Patrick Bet-David, about how we can make that happen, because he just did something like it also. And I think it's a big part of the solution, and it has to continue. Now, I want to bring in the gift that we have for you at NewsNation, which is this is the only place that gets people from different parties on to talk together at the same time. Georgia Republican member of Congress, Dr. Rich McCormick, and Democrat representative from Hawaii, member of Congress, Jill Tokuda. Jill, it's good to have you on the show. Doc, always a pleasure. Thank you. Doc, you were there. I was bickering with my producers in the break. I didn't want to show what happened when Johnson or Boebert called for a moment of silence, because I can't tell what's happening from the voices.
What purpose is
and the reporting is all over the place. What happened, Doc? You were there.
Basically, we had a moment of silence, which nobody objected to. But then, unfortunately, Lauren Boebert wanted to actually have a prayer, and it was vehemently objected by the left. They said, you didn't do that when you had the school shootings. I understand that kind of objection. And then Anna Paulina Luna had some choice words for them as far as what caused the shooting, and that kind of erupted into some disorder. Of course, the speaker tried to get order and did eventually get order. And as a result, we got on with what we're supposed to get on with, which is the business of Congress. Unfortunately, I don't want that to be the focus, though. I mean, that's a microcosm of exactly what's wrong with America. Too many people blaming rather than too many people praying. And ironically, we were both on the floor earlier debating some stuff. I was actually granted time by my Democratic colleague on air with me right now on a bill that we both agreed on, which we won by overwhelming majority because we are good at working together on things that make common sense. It's common sense that we feel bad when things like this happen. It's horrible. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. Violence is not the answer to debate. Truth is the answer to debate.
You know, Jill, you're quickly getting a reputation for being someone who knows the power of compromise and has strong ideals and strong principles, but they don't foreclose debate and discussion. And I'm not surprised that you gave Doc time. And I want to thank both of you for being a demonstration to my audience that not all hope is lost, that not everybody hates everybody, and that's all our lawmakers have been about. So, Jill, as somebody who's trying to make a difference in Congress and a member of the Democratic Party, what do you believe today means, not just as an American, but as a Democrat? What do you take from today?
Well, first of all, I will say, these are one of the days, and Rich, I'm sure you agree with me, you go home with a really heavy heart, and you just want to run back to your family, your kids, your loved ones, and give them a big hug. And a lot of times we can't because we're in DC. But this was a hard day for everyone. And I sat, amongst the yelling that you saw, and I sat in silence because what I felt was a lot of my friends across the aisle in a lot of pain. They lost a friend. They lost somebody that they cared about deeply. And I felt a lot of fear on my side of the aisle too. Sometimes the words that come out of their mouth are very different, but if you go to the core of what people are feeling, it's very much the same. A lot of fear, a lot of anger, a lot of grief and frustration right now. What we've got to do is find some common ground and way to move forward, see the humans in each other. And I think sometimes we lose sight of that. Rich and I don't always agree on absolutely everything, but we're people first. And we connected that way from the very beginning when we came into Congress. And that's not going to change even if we disagree on things. And I think that's something we have to keep bringing ourselves back to and remembering. When we look out in the chambers, out in the schoolyards, out at rallies, out at these gatherings, we're people first. And that's really important that we take that away from today.
What I've heard from both of you is enough. And I'm glad the audience got to hear it and got to see it. And the business of the majority of this country should be on the agenda. And you're always welcome here to discuss it. But for tonight, that's enough. That people know we can be together, and we can be together for the right reasons. And it's not about whether you agree. It's how you choose to disagree and what to do with that disagreement. Thank you for doing it the right way. Dr. McCormick, as always, I appreciate you, brother. And Jill Tokuda, thank you for being on the show. Please come again, and God bless you both.
Thanks so much. Semper Fi.
4 minutes. Yeah, man. 4 minutes, 15 seconds. Semper Fi. Let's talk about to what. Always faithful. Semper Fi, the Marines. To what? Patrick Bet-David is a friend of mine, okay? He takes heat for being my friend. I take heat for being his friend. Neither of us give a damn because we believe in the other person and what they're about. He brought me and Charlie together, and he did it for a reason, and he knows he's on the right track. What does he make of today? What does he believe we have to do next? My friend, Patrick Bet-David. Next.
You're in your early 30s. I'm in my early 50s. You know, this is what happens to you. You just keep evolving and changing.
It's me and Charlie, brought together by my friend Patrick Bet-David, because all of us agreed we got to come together and conversation has to be the cure. It doesn't matter if we agree. It's how we disagree. And Patrick joins me now, and I know you've been following this. You're at your big Vault conference in South Florida, but Charlie was a friend, and I know this matters more. Let me know, Pat, when you can hear me. I know they're trying to get him up. And one of the big questions that Patrick has, I share, and so do you. Who did this? It is an active investigation. We do not know who murdered Charlie Kirk. Do you understand? I know there's a lot of reporting out there. I know they showed you pictures. I know they said person of interest. I know they said somebody in custody. They don't know. They don't have them. Now, I'm not being suspicious or conspiratorial. I'm just telling you, they don't know. And it's an active manhunt, and they will find out. But we don't have the answer. Now, is Patrick ready? Can he hear me, or should I go to break and bring him back? Okay. We're going to get Patrick's tech right. I want you to hear from him because he brought us together and he understood the value that Charlie had, no matter what your political beliefs. Next. We're back with Patrick Bet-David. Pat, thank you for coming on tonight, especially being in the conference and having to process everything with Charlie. We're all still waiting to see who did this. There's been crazy mixed information all day. They had him, they didn't have him. It's a suspect. It's a person of interest. He's released. The guy is still out there. What does that mean to you? And what does Charlie's murder mean to you?
Well, first, Chris, it's great to be on with you. I remember when we did a podcast together, me, you, and him, sitting down. It was actually one of the better conversations we had together. It was phenomenal seeing two people that at one point maybe were on different sides, but we just had a debate. We sit down. It was great conversation. That's what America's all about. I'm at the event here in Orlando. We got 8,000 people. I'm behind. Tony Robbins about to come on stage. That's when I saw a report saying he may be making a recovery. He's critical, but he's making recovery. And I walk up on stage. I greet Tony. He just finished his keynote. I took him off. Then Vinny comes from the side and he says, it's over. I'm like, what do you mean it's over? So I'm getting ready to pray for the fact that he's recovering. And Vinny says it's over. Then Kelly comes in, it's over. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's over. It's a very weird day. It's a very weird event. The only thing I can compare it to, Chris, is in sports, when Kobe Bryant passed away, NBA fans around the world stopped. In politics, when Charlie Kirk got assassinated, everyone in the political space stopped. If you go on Twitter right now, you look at the top 30 trending words, 30 for 30 has to do with Charlie Kirk. Think about the amount of influence this young man had, 31 years old. He's at this event. His wife's there. His kids are there. He's getting assassinated, and we don't even know who it is. Kash Patel tells us they have the subject. They released the subject. I just have way too many questions right now.
What's at the top of the list of your concerns in terms of who did it and why?
So let's process that. Let's look at all the options of who this could be. One, somebody who was just upset after the last 48 hours of what happened, all the divisiveness of the shooting, of the murder of Irina, the Ukrainian young lady. And so somebody may have said, you know what, screw you, Charlie, you've been going too tough, and came and took him out. Okay, that's one. Number two, it could be somebody that has been plotting to take out Charlie for a couple of years, and he's been planning for this because he's the opposing side. Okay, great. Number three, it could be a controlled opposition of somebody that's been funding it for this to happen, and they were trying to fund their patsy. Great. Number four, it could be in the next few days, Chris, if in the next few days, an opposing Charlie Kirk figure, I won't give names because I don't even want to put those names out there, If in the next week an opposing person from the left gets assassinated, you have to know this is happening from an outside source, a different country that wants to see America have a civil war. We are having so many victories right now. So many things are happening that too many people are afraid. Too many people are respecting America again. Too many people are afraid of America again, like in a respectful way. These are some of the things I have. And by the way, I'm purely speculating, just like any businessman will do, any investor will do. I'm not, it's one or the other. I'm just saying, I wonder what it is. But those are some of the options.
Yeah. I mean, look, here's what we know right now, and we knew it before today, and it's really what brought you and I together. And you know, I have love for you and your family. That has nothing to do with politics, because we're people first. We know what we have to do. We have to do more of what we were already doing where Charlie was concerned. We got to find ways to connect on these campuses. I think you did a beautiful job with Jubilee and doing that debate in the round. We got to keep being together. We got to keep talking. Doesn't matter if we agree. It's how we disagree. And people see that I care about you and you care about me, and the ideas all follow. So I redouble my efforts in his honor for his young family and his legacy, that I don't have to agree with where he was coming from, but the approach of engaging is where we both are. And let's get some answers about who did this before we have to deal with another one.
No, there's no question, and I respect that. You know how my kids feel about you when we're together, our families, we get along, and we may not even be on the same side politically, but we agree on 80, 90% of things, Chris. Even most of America, we're on this on 80 to 90% of things. I'm hoping the president finds a way to lower the temperature. One of the concerns I got is we still don't know who tried to kill the president. We got some work to do, but
right.
He's the right guy to be able to lower the temperature today. I hope he does.
I got you. I mean, look, right now, everybody's doing what they usually do in these situations. The question is, well, what'll make it change? You know, you want to blame one side, there's going to be another one, it's going to be the other side. We got to be bigger than the fringes, or we'll never get to a better place. Patrick, I love you. I care about you. I'll talk to you. Thank you for being on with me tonight. Good luck at Vault, and the best to your family. All right, I want to give it to Leland Vittert now to pick up our coverage of the manhunt. Charlie Kirk's assassin. We do not know who they are. There is an active manhunt. I know there's a lot of confusing reporting. The answer is what I just told you. We do not know, and Leland is going to pick up our coverage of how we get to an answer.
Well, we may not be able to get an answer in the next 2 hours, Chris. I think that's almost for sure. We don't even know who the FBI may or may not be looking for a description. They've arrested 2 people. I think, Chris, though, in a bigger sense, you've been doing this a little bit longer than I have. But I almost think you'd have to go back to the 1960s to have a night like tonight in political journalism. And I say that because all of the other really awful nights that we've had as a country have united us. And this one just continues to divide us.
I don't know what will unite us. And here's the thing that I don't really get. When I am in person, okay, and I don't mean with me and Leland. Leland is the exact same guy when he's not on TV that he is when he is on TV. So he's one of the rare ones. But in person, people come to me and and the same thing happens with you. They don't understand what they're seeing on their screens. They don't understand the division. They don't understand how it got so hot and intense. And yet, professionally, in the media, in our culture, look at today. Social media, my kids are disgusted by what's on social media today. The doom scrollers are disgusted by what they're seeing, that there was no pause of people doing anything but trying to play this to advantage. And that is what scares me. I'm not scared about what's going to happen when I go to an event tonight or when I walk into the building. Hey, look, I don't control that. Whatever happens is going to happen. And I say, let it come. But I don't know what to do about I don't know what will bring us together, Leland. I really don't know.
Scary times we live in. Chris, good to see you.